If you remember, it was the Ford Endeavour that kicked off the large SUV segment here in India all those years ago. However, since then, this segment has come to be dominated by the likes of the Toyota Fortuner. But Ford is ready to strike back with their all-new Endeavour. Now, we had a chance to drive this car a few months ago in Thailand and we came back quite impressed. We couldn't wait to drive it here in India. Well, thankfully that wait is now over because the Endeavour has landed in the country, although it's not on sale just yet. So let's find out if the Endeavour can still impress. Now this new Endeavour comes with a choice of two engines, a 2.2-litre 4-cylinder diesel and a 3.2-litre 5-cylinder diesel. The one we are driving of course right now is the 3.2. This motor makes 200 PS of power and 470 Newton meters of torque. Now, it might not be the torqueiest motor in this class, but it can haul this rather large size SUV really well. But more importantly, this motor is smooth and responsive. Now this car has a 6-speed automatic gearbox. There is a manual version available as well, but that's only on the 2.2. This automatic gearbox does tend to feel a bit spongy in the way it revs and changes gears. It almost feels like a CVT at times. Now Ford says that this gearbox is supposed to have a smart system which learns your driving patterns and then adjusts gear shift patterns accordingly. But I guess we haven't spent enough time driving this car for that to have happened yet. Things feel a lot different in the Tiptronic Sport mode. In that mode, it offers really effortless gear changes. They are not super quick, but they are super smooth whether changing up or down the gearbox. This motor and gearbox combination can haul this Endeavour from 0 to 100 in a little under 12 seconds. It's not the fastest in class and acceleration isn't neck snapping, but the car just pulls away in a strong linear fashion. However, what I'm most impressed about are the brakes. They're sharp and responsive and they can stop over 2 tons of Ford with utmost confidence. This new Endeavour comes equipped with a whole bunch of electronics to keep the car in check. The electronic stability program controls the amount of torque going to each wheel and can brake each wheel individually to keep the car planted while cornering. Of course, the car does show its weight in the corners, but the anti-roll bar at the front and a watch linkage at the back really keep body roll under tight control. It's quite shocking how level a car of this size and obviously no sporting intention stays to the turns. This new Endeavour steering is electrically assisted and not hydraulic, so the feel is quite light. This is of course a boon in city traffic and while parking, and it does load up adequately while at speed to give you a fair amount of confidence, say on the highway. In the suspension department, the big benefit of going to coil springs all around has been phenomenal ride quality. It's actually quite surprising and unexpected from an SUV with a body-on-chassis design. Now the suspension does feel a bit firm, but since the rebound damping is so well controlled, it doesn't crash over even fairly sharp bumps. Definitely 2 thumbs up to Ford here. Now the one area where the Endeavour really excels is its off-road ability. Granted that at 225mm, it doesn't have the best in class ground clearance, but apart from that small hindrance, it really does well on the rough stuff. The car can automatically split torque between the front and rear axles, and as much as 97% of the torque can be transferred to the rear wheels if required. And to make off-roading really easy, the car also comes with something called a terrain management system, much like Range Rover's terrain response. Set it to sand mode and you get increased wheel spin and aggressive throttle response to sort of get through sand very easily. Put it in mud snow mode, traction is optimized by limiting wheel spin. Rock mode lets you keep the car in first gear to crawl over rocky surfaces. The car also gets hill launch assist to start the car on steep inclines. And if you want to go downhill, well, you get hill descent control, which lets you take the car down the slope at a steady pace with no throttle and brake inputs whatsoever. And to top it off, the Endeavour can wade through water which is over 2.5 feet deep. In fact, so clear are the car's off-roading intentions that even the dashboard has a display which can show the car's pitch and roll. Speaking about the interiors, they are a huge step up from the earlier Endeavour and in my opinion, pretty much better than anything else in this class. You get this brown leather-like material on the top of the dashboard which really feels quite premium, and while the beige seats really complement the darker dashboard. I like the fact that the designers at Ford have restrained themselves when it came to the use of chrome inside the cabin. That really allows this cabin to exude a sense of premiumness. Even the plastics quality feels quite top-notch for this class of car. The seats too are extremely comfortable with lots of under-thigh support, and all variants of this Endeavour get 8-way electric adjustment for the driver's seat. Up at the front you've got this high-tech dashboard with 2 LCD panels which complement the analog speedometer in the center. The screens can display everything from the tachometer, the engine temperature, trip computer, and even a whole bunch of off-road gauges amongst other things. In the center console, you get an 8-inch touchscreen which comes with everything that you would expect. It's divided into quadrants, each for a specific function like phone, information, entertainment, and climate, which really makes it intuitive to use. But what really blows away is just how quiet this cabin is. Now, this car is equipped with an active noise cancellation feature which reads noise through multiple microphones throughout the cabin and then plays back reversed frequencies through the speakers to cancel out that noise. Very much like noise cancelling headphones. And it really works well all the time. Now the middle row of this new Ford Endeavour is a pretty comfortable place to be in. The seats themselves are quite large, they pack plenty of under-thigh support, and you can seat 3 adults abreast here, no problem at all. Knee room of course is not the best in class, but you can slide these seats backwards to liberate some more space for your legs. Now apart from that, you've got your air conditioning vents on the roof, which is a pretty nice touch. You have the controls for that air conditioning in the center right here, and you also get a 12-volt charger for your devices. Now what's missing on this car as compared to the car we drove in Thailand is a proper 3-pin AC plug point, which I think would have been a lovely addition for the Indian car as well. But I guess they left that out because they expected us to maybe plug in our mixers and juicers as well in this car. But well, apart from that, I think overall it's a pretty good experience in the back seat. Now this new Endeavour, just like the old one, is built as a 7-seater, and honestly I was expecting space in the third row to be completely rubbish. But you know what? It's not that bad at all. Now yes, granted I have pushed the middle row seats all the way ahead, but even then they still seem to have sufficient room for most normal sized adults. And of course, you're sitting in a slightly knees up position, which might not be too comfortable for too long, but I think for short hops it should be okay. And for kids, I think this is more than enough. Plus, you got AC vents for the third row and a little light here as well. Not bad, Ford. So the new Endeavour is of course packed to the gills with features, and the top spec titanium variant comes with a couple of really interesting ones. Well, for one, the boot can be opened with the press of a button. And if that wasn't enough, if you wanted to fold down the third row, well, you have buttons for that as well. And that way you have a lot more space in the boot if you want to carry some stuff in here. And if you don't want to, well, up they come. Now that is really impressive because this power
seat feature and the power tailgate feature is a first for this segment. Really impressive. So, does this new Endeavour impress? Well, the answer to that is a resounding yes. There is so much to like about this car, from the way it looks to the way it drives, the way it rides, the space, the comfort, the features. In fact, my only real complaint with it is that access to the third row is a bit of a pain. I can honestly say that this is the best car in this segment at the moment. Of course, its eventual pricing will have some weightage on this verdict, but looking at what Ford has done with the pricing of the Aspire and the Figo, and the fact that this new Endeavour is being assembled in India, I'm sure Ford will get that just right. So at least until the new Toyota Fortuner arrives here, this is the undisputed champion.